I don't even know where to begin. But I made a little list of things to say, and but it's starting to look like a sort of a diary. I have to make sure that it's all gaming related. Otherwise, this should be just called my diary, my video diary. A lot of things happened. And I got a few things. It's a good thing to have pickups because I can show you something, and I have something to talk about at least. I mean, not something gaming related. I mean, so I'm gonna show some pickups. First and foremost, I did a trade, and I'll talk about that first. And let's just get started. I don't even remember very well how we got there, but I did a trade with Chris McMahon. He's Christopher with a 7 and an 8 in the name. He has a YouTube channel. You should check it out. He's very Nintendo minded, and on Facebook he had like a message or something saying that he had a new 3DS XL, and that it was spare or something. And there's this one game that I've always been interested in, and that's Xenoblade. There's Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii, which I had twice. I mean, I had 2 copies because I bought one at a moment that I'd forgotten that I'd already bought it, but I sold that. I have Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. Now, both these games, Xenoblade Chronicles, I played on the Wii, but it was very difficult to play because some of the text is so small that you can't read it, right? And first I thought I needed a bigger TV, but that didn't make a difference because it was a resolution. And then I got like I think I got a component cable which improved the situation. But I never finished that. I didn't get to a very high level in that game, and I got Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I tried that game, but I've not really played it. But there's also a version on the 3DS. And about 4 or 5 times I've had this game in my hand, or I had my beat on it. And then at the last moment, I realize it's only for the new 3DS XL or 3DS. And I have a 3DS XL, but not the new one. So Chris had one for trade, and well, basically I said, what would you want for it? So I put together, well, all of the Nintendo stuff that I have and the stuff that I thought I could part with, or I had double, and it turned out to be a lot of, well, a lot of Nintendo 64 games, but also a lot of NES games. And not boxed or anything, but, NES games, Super NES games that maybe I got when I thought they were cheap and I didn't really care about what I was buying. So I made a selection. I culled my collection a little bit, and well, in the end, we made a deal. So I sent him a box of my stuff, and Chris sent me this 3D, a new 3DS XL, a metallic blue one in a box with a charger. and with a UK plug on it. So Chris, we have different kinds of plugs over here on the mainland. So I think I'll probably be returning that to you at some point. But this thing I'm really happy with. Look at the color. It's a really nice. I really like these devices. And but maybe you guys can help me, because I have a 3DS XL that I use, and I bought some games on that, but you know where I'm going with this. You know, it's in a case. I need to buy a case for this one, but this is the one that I take with me sometimes when I travel, if I travel at all. But I have games on that, and it turned out that when I was trying to create a Nintendo Network ID on the new 3DS, it said that I couldn't use the same ID on two 3DSs, so now I have to choose on which of the systems I have my games, like the ones that I bought, which is only like a handful. Not even that, but you know, I sort of had this vision of having these games on all of the 3DSs that I have, but you can't unless you buy them double. Maybe even with a different Nintendo Network ID. I don't know why Nintendo has to make this so complicated. Just have an account and attach stuff to that, but it doesn't work that way with Nintendo somehow. Anyway, I don't know how to decide. Do I like decommission my old one now? But it's perfectly fine. How does this work? How do you do this? Do you have like one 3DS, or do you have multiple accounts? Is that like one for every machine? I don't know how this works, and I don't know why I'm struggling with this question, Nintendo. Why can't you make it easy for me instead of making it easy for yourself? I don't get it. But I'd like some input. Like, what's the way to go here? What do people do when they get a new or a second 3DS? How do you deal with the accounts? How do you deal with the games? And do you like buy them double, or do you just use one and sell the other? Does it make sense to have more than one? Because I have now 3 3DS XLs. Or is one of the... No, one is a normal DS. Wait. Well, I don't know. I think one is a not 3D. It's like one of those... Jesus Christ, what is it? Were you looking at my ass this time? No, I don't think so. Hold on. Because this I haven't used in a long time. It's green. And this is a DSi XL. Wow. Whoa, it's scratched. I don't even know how I got this. This is a DSi XL. And I have an R4 card in this, yeah. Which is very, very sensitive to like not fitting very well. So I got a DSi XL. I got a 3DS XL, and I have a new 3DS XL now. I'm one of those guys who has 3 handheld, and I have a regular DS as well. What am I to do with all these consoles? I don't know. But anyway, I want to thank Chris. I have thanked Chris for the trade. You've been very generous, and I will... If there's ever anything that you want or that I can do for you, Chris, just let me know, and I'm your man. And also, thank you for the Christmas card. This is one of those cases where I sent something, and I sealed everything, and I was so concentrated on packing everything very well, and I closed the box, and I always think about, doing the edges well so that there's no water can get in, and I put the address on, and I think about that and everything, and then I have everything set up, and then I think, shit, I forgot a note. So I didn't put a note in. But Chris sent me a Christmas card. It's November, but I have my first Christmas card sitting on the piano now. So thanks, Chris. It's very nice, very lovely. And maybe the best thing of all, which is, I don't know, maybe this is where the trade started. Look, I'm going to have to be very careful with this. Look what he made. Isn't that great? I love that. I love that. I exist. See that? It made it through the whole journey. A little Highlander bead project. I know his left horn is well, a little worse for wear, but look at it. I think it's ace. I think this is really, really good. So this, I really like this. Thank you. I'm putting this up on the on one of the shelves over there so that it doesn't break. I've got another one up there that's like a Waluigi, I think, up there. Can you see it? Probably. Natalie made that. Chris made that. Or your wife, Chris, I don't know. I love it. It's great. And I did that without breaking it. How about that? So this is not really a pickup, but, you know, a thing that came into the game room, and I've turned it on, of course. I've set it up. I set up the Wi-Fi, and I haven't played any games on the 3DS yet, though. But I can now because I got this. Now this is Shovel Knight, and Shovel Knight is one of those 8-bit like games that you play on the modern machines. I have it on the Wii U. I think it exists on the PlayStation 4. I think it does. But it also exists on the 3DS, and I never had this game, and I couldn't find an affordable copy. This is, to my wallet's perspective, is an expensive game, but I found this for €15, which is really cheap. And I always think that I'm gonna get ripped off, when I find something this cheap. First, I just occasionally browse like the local auction site. It's not an auction site, Marktplaats. Just remember that. And you just go through the offers on there, and it's 90% is like game stores, and then there's the odd soul who thinks that they can sell their game for the same price that the game stores sell their games for. And I just never find anything that I think is worthwhile. And then I find this like $14.90 or $14.95, but it was obviously not a store, just a guy. And I get excited very quickly, and I respond immediately. I don't bid. I just send them a message and said I want to buy it. And then they say, you get a very quick response. And I do check like how long they've been on the site, and what kind of ratings that they've received from other buyers and stuff. And that all checked out. But I still, after I make the sale or make the buy, I always think, shit, it's too good to be true. And I've never been burned, maybe once on Pro Protector, and I've had assholes, like people who take ages to send their stuff, or that are really rude when they communicate with you, or that don't communicate at all. But this guy was friendly, and he had a good price, and he had a good product, so everything checked out. But I always get that feeling that right after I say, here's the money, I think, shit, what if he just doesn't send it now? Anyway, I got it. Shovel Knight. It's a really tough game. It kicks my ass all the time. And this is the type of game that I'll sit down and I'll have to feel really good before I turn this on. You know, just like Maldita Castilla, and I forget the English name, like Evil Castle or something. Before I turn that on, I think I have to feel really good. Like I have to feel like I'm ready for a beating. Because what's going to happen is that I'm going to get frustrated. And, you know, you die and you go again, and then you die in a spot that is less far than you were before, and you have to try again. You have to try again, and you can take that a couple of times, but in the end, I just have to. I'm just so frustrated, and I'm wondering why the hell I'm doing this at all, because it's supposed to be fun, and I just shut the whole thing off, knowing that I haven't reached the third save point where it's at least gonna allow me to continue where I left off. You know, where now when I turn this game on, I'm gonna have to start from scratch again. So it's really hard for me because I have very little patience and I get frustrated very easily. But I'm still attracted to this game. How does this work, people? Why do I do this to myself? Please explain. Here's another game that will do that. And it's Megaman 11. I have Megaman 10. Is that? Oh, that's the Legacy. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this. Wait a minute. I have the Megaman Legacy Collection on PS4. I have the Megaman Legacy Collection 2 on PS4. And now I have Megaman 11? Shouldn't I have 10 as well? Or is that Mega Man X? Oh, that shows you the kind of expert I am on this stuff. Anyway, this is, again, you know, this is sort of a masochism selection for me. I like these games, but they kick my ass. You know, it's the same reason why I'm interested in Cuphead. I haven't bought it yet. But I know, I mean, that game was made to be frustrating, right? I don't know. It's been on offer a couple of times, but I haven't done it. Talking about games that are on offer, tomorrow. I mean, I'm recording this on a Thursday night. Tomorrow is Friday. X4 Foundations is going to be released on Steam. Now, the same guy who introduced me to Elite Dangerous, who is a guy who has the same name as I have, he's also the guy who introduced me to the X games. There's X3, and I think there were X2 and maybe X, I don't know. I never played these games. I never played any of them, but they're a space simulation game. Maybe X3 a little bit more strategic, you know, a little bit more strategic than I like. I don't like strategy games, but this is also a space trading game. It has a lot of similarities with Elite Dangerous, but it's different as well. And I've been watching a live stream by Obsidian Ant, who did like a 5-hour and then a 2-hour and then now another 1.5 hour stream of X4, and it looks really nice. It's $50. I'm not going to buy it, but it definitely has my interest. I don't like Obsidian Ant per se. I mean, he's got this really slow voice. And that's basically his only gimmick. You know, that's the only thing that has attracted people to him. He's very successful in the sense that he's got a lot of subscribers to his channel and a lot of viewers. And of course, that gets him into the regions where people throw money at him. I know that in the beginning, his PC broke. It crashed or something. And of course, just mentioning that on a channel like that is enough for people to buy a new one. It's easy. I'd love for people to pay for my hobby. I'd love it. But I'd be smart enough not to make remarks like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind paying money for that." No, of course. And he said that on some stream. I can't remember which one, but it was about new content for Elite Dangerous. I mean, there's been a lot of free upgrades, but there's bound to be a new version of Elite that you have to pay for. And he went on stream saying, "Oh, I wouldn't mind paying for new content." No, of course not, idiot. People are paying it for you. That's the kind of stuff I don't understand. He starts a stream. He starts a stream off like with 5 minutes of nothingness, a bit of music and a little countdown. And I'm always thinking, what do you do in those 5 minutes? And then the stream comes on, and it's a black screen. Oh, I seem to have a bit of a technical problem. Oh, I've got to get this fixed. I have to stop the stream. God damn, man! You've had 5 minutes to get this thing running. You've just been wanking this 5 minutes. That's the time that you use to make sure that everything works, so that when people when the 5 minutes are passed, you can start the screen. People can start watching. No. Oh, I got a black screen. OBS isn't working. Of course, that's what OBS does. Jesus Christ. And I'm thinking, people are paying you for this. Jesus Christ. I can do a better job. Anyway, enough of that. I watched the stream, and of course he got a demo copy from the developers, and he showed off the game. So he paid them a great service, I think, and he's probably going to get the game for free, of course. It's $50, which is nice. I'm going to buy it. But not on day one, and I'm certainly not going to pre-order it. I'm just going to wait until people have played it, and people are going to say, "Oh, it's good," or "It's bad," or we'll see, and then maybe somewhere in the next year I'll get it. X4 Foundations. If you're into space sims, check it out on Steam, and check out Obsidian Ant's stream because he does a job of showing you what the game entails. Okay. The progress on the arcade stick. I've been working. This is of course, like the top board where the stick 1, stick 2, 4 buttons, and start and credit button go. I decided just to put them on the top. I know I was going to be careful with it. But I wasn't. I just did this, and I'll see how I solve it. One problem that I had, as you can see, there's two different diameter holes. This is 24 millimeters. This was supposed to be 28 millimeters. So the 24 ones just went in very nicely. The 28 millimeter buttons turned out to be actually 29 millimeters. So I had and I of course I bought a speed drill for 28, and I had to sand it out for an extra millimeter, which was a lot of work. And I even bought a tool for it, but it was too fine, so I had to do it by hand. And I hurt my fingers on the sanding paper, but anyway. The holes are there. I bought a little pot of wood stain that I'm going to treat this with, because this is going to have fingers on it. The problem is, though, that this is bamboo and it's very smooth. So the store that sold this to me said, well, it's going to be very sensitive to scratches and all that. But it's the only thing, I guess, that is going to help protect this from getting dirty. And it's not going to suffer much from sharp objects or, unless I rage quit or something. But it's looking quite good. There's this one episode where I do the drilling. I think that's going to be the last one in the format that I've been uploading. I know it's kind of a, it's not very exciting, doesn't get a lot of views, but it does serve a purpose. It does show people exactly, what you're going to run into when you do this. And I was hoping for, a relaxing watch maybe, but I'm kind of done with the extensive, I'm dragging it out too long. So this next Friday, tomorrow, I'm not going to have time to do anything, but from now on is going to be the electronics, and I'll just shorten the videos and hopefully finish it soon, because I want to have my arcade stick, right? Talking about arcade sticks, well, this is a useless little bridge to Tony. Electric Adventures, Tony's had his operation. It's not a secret, Tony, I think, because you posted about it on Facebook. He had trouble with his shoulder and pain in his arm, and he was struggling, and he's had an operation, which, from what I see, sounds like a pretty heavy and risky operation, but I am under the impression that you're doing well, Tony, so I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you're relieved of pain and that you have some more motion in your body again, and you're walking again. So that's, going on walks again. So that's good. I hope you get well soon and feel strong enough to do a wee marathon. No, just you feel good enough to game and work on your arcade machines and all that, and do videos, for Christ's sake, because nothing is worse than continuous pain, right? So I hope you do well, Tony. Here's to you. I'm jumping from one subject to another, but I guess you're all used to that. Also, I'm being urged by my camera, because it says that my battery is almost empty, and I shouldn't be urged by my camera. I should just take it easy, and when it dies, I'll just put in a new battery, right? Anyway, I want to show you something. I'm sorry. I want to say that I bought this, but I didn't. It was a present from my wife for my birthday, which I have in November. And she bought me, I pointed it out to her in a magazine, and I got a Mini. Now, I feel like I have to talk about this, not in a review or whatever, but this is one of the many, many classic Minis around. And I know that I've been critical of the Nintendo Classic Mini, mainly because it was hard to buy. It was so hard to buy that I decided to get the Retro Pi, and I put an NES and a Super NES and a Famicom emulator on that. It works fine. It's got all the games on it. It's got all the Nintendo consoles on it that I want. And so that's caused me not to buy the otherwise, I may have, at one point, decided to get the classic Minis from Nintendo. But they're still expensive, right? They're still like 70 or 80 euros. Maybe even more, 90. And now there's the PlayStation one, and there's the Sega one underway. And I hear nothing but complaints. I hear nothing but complaints about machines that are not even on the market yet. And this is like a standard thing that we all do. We all look at the specs and we all look at what it's going to come with, and we whine about it. I don't whine about it, but people whine about it. And I think that's sad. The menu isn't great. The games aren't what I want. Yada, yada, yada. The controls are this and the blah, 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 blah. You had one job. I get so sick of it, you know. This little guy is half the price. It's half the price. You can play all of the games, well, the games that'll work. And that's a lot, because the Commodore has a lot of games, right? And some of the more modern games that came out on cartridge only, they won't run because the emulator on this isn't compatible. But you can basically load, you can stick a USB stick in there and it'll play the game, right? It has saves. It has like you can change the screen to look like a CRT with or with scan lines or without them. You can connect any thing up to this, even a keyboard or a different controller. This thing is versatile, right? This thing is versatile. And it's fucking half the price of all the consoles that everybody's whining about. So I don't get that. This is the only console that is not linked to the original creator like Sega or Nintendo or Sony. It's just a Commodore. I mean, this is what you want, right? Isn't it? This does everything that everyone's whining about. It's cheaper. It's more versatile. You can play anything on it, and it has saves. And it has all the screen things, right? I don't get what the fuss is about. And I don't want any of the other mini consoles. I don't want them. I wanted this one, and I'm happy with that one. I don't know why I'm on about this. I mean, they're all just too expensive, probably. I mean, this was expensive, but this has an active community of people. Again, Commodore does it right. I mean, not Commodore itself, but the people around it. You know, there's so many games coming out for that platform. There's so many SID players. There's so many people making chips for it. You know, why is that? Why is the Commodore community so much better than the Sony community or the Nintendo? Because it's just a bunch of whiners. Why don't you just get off your asses and do something and make something? Is that fair to say? I don't know. I mean, this thing wasn't made by Commodore. This was made by Commodore fans, right? So why don't you just stop whining and make your own Sony, Sega? I guess that's what's bothering me about it. I mean, not that I made this, but there's a community out there who loves Commodore so much that they make Commodores, right? And they make stuff for it, and they make games for it. And then there's a section of people who look at a store and they see a product. Oh, that looks like the Sony that I have always wanted and that I've always loved, but it doesn't live up to my expectations, so I'm going to whine about it. But I'm still going to buy it for too much money. How does that work? Why isn't there like a Sony PlayStation 1 community? Maybe they can't because Sony won't allow it. Nintendo won't allow it. Sega won't allow it. Maybe that's it. Sega? Does Sega still exist? Probably. Oh my God. Maybe it's too late for me to do this. Too late in the day. I don't know. Yeah, well, I had this whole thing about customer service that I was going to talk about. I've had such a bad time with customer service. I don't know. But I don't think I'm going to get into it. I mean, it's just large companies communicating with individuals. I'll just sum it up with, I got in touch with a company that was supposed to provide me with something, and it was through Twitter, right? And I got in touch, and they said, well, thank you for getting in touch with us. And they asked me to send a private message with my email address in it. So I did that. And then like 30 minutes later, they responded to my private message. Let me have your email address so that I can help you. I just gave you my email address 30 minutes ago. Just check the messages above, right? So, but I gave it again. Then 2 hours, nothing. And then it was like close to midnight, and I went to bed. And the next morning, I got an email, I got a request to give them feedback of my experience of their, my experience with their customer service. Anyway, I wasn't happy, but we'll leave that for next time, kids. I have nothing more to say. Please, if you can advise me on how to handle my 3DS problem, I would say leave your tips in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.